Hello, everybody. We are back, Bryn and I, and Russell, which I know all of you love. He knew it was a list video, so he came running down. But Bryn and I are here to rank all the Survivor skills. Last week, we ranked all the Seeker skills because we are skill experts now due to our run of the skills-only challenge.
Yeah, just don't ask us which green skills are good.
No, I mean, we're going to...
like the innate ones, probably.
We're going to have to figure that out next week, so... But we're here with the Survivor skills today, and we got 22 of them, so buckle up. It's going to be a big one. Starting with our last place card, which we think is... I mean, there's two here that we thought were easily the weakest. This is the one that we just... Neither of us have played, so we were like, that's probably a sign that it doesn't really excite us.
Right?
Predestined. Max 1 committed per skill test. You may commit Predestined to any type of test. If it fails, either add 2 Blessed tokens to the Chaos bag or remove 2 Curse tokens. I want to know what happened in testing where it was max 1 per skill test. You know?
Yeah, I mean, like, I guess if you're all playing red and you commit 8 of these to a single skill test, there are not enough of these tokens to do that. Unless
that
the
is
bag
true.
was full.
That is true.
Curse tokens and had no Blessed tokens in it.
Yeah.
Kind of weird because you're all playing red, but...
Yeah, for that, how did you get in that? Because everyone's just doing healing themselves with Spirit of Humanity ad nauseum. Yeah, the card just, it doesn't do enough to be a card in your deck. Right, like I'd never be happy to draw this card.
Yeah, I mean, I suppose for me, it probably does a very similar job to Take Art.
Yep.
Where I commit it and then I pass the test and I'm like, geez, I didn't want that.
That is true. Now, you know what? We should actually put that into practice, right?
Yeah, I should.
We should figure it out.
Maybe that's the next deck that we're working on.
Yeah. Travis would be so pissed.
He would be so mad.
Like, and you have like no Blessed synergy. You're just putting this in,
I got this. I got my Grimm's Fairy Tales for when I fail my tests.
Yeah. Oh. Yeah.
Yeah, you would be so mad.
You would. It'd be funny, though. It would be funny.
Yeah. Yeah, maybe for a standalone.
That's a good idea.
So then I don't have to put him through 7 more weeks of
this. Yeah. And also yourself 7 through weeks of it. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, our next lowest card is Not Without a Fight. Commits for a brain, a fist, and a foot. It's innate. Commit to a skill test only for engage with an enemy. For each enemy engaged with you, Not Without a Fight gains the same symbol. So if you have an enemy engage with you, and like you somehow, you draw like a treachery, like a rotting remains in the Mythos phase. This is a guts, but it's so narrow in the window for like when you can use it, and the payoff isn't worth that narrow of a window.
Yeah, the only world I've ever seen where I'm like, this card might actually be killing it is a specific scenario in the Circle Undone. Yeah, it's the same one as the other cards are really good in. But this time what you're doing is not killing all the whippoorwills, and then engaging them all and then canceling their effect. Like you have to commit a second one in order to be up on the deal.
Yeah.
Or just you don't have to commit a second one because it's +2. It's +2 per whippoorwill on that.
So you play like you get them all there. You play taunt, get them all engaged with you, do the circle action, take 1,000,000 damage.
Yeah.
But then pass it.
Yeah, but it's cool because you probably got like a teddy bear or something. It'll take some of it.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's really not good.
And like
don't do that.
Also, like if you have just one enemy engaged with you, in theory, it's just like an overpower or a manual dex, but. No. Still, like, it's just one of those things where, like, especially in Survivor, with their skills, there's so much more you can do. Yeah.
Yeah.
On to number 20, we got Rise to the Occasion. 3 wild icons, it's innate. Commit only to a skill test you're performing, and only if the difficulty of that test is at least 2 higher than your base skill value.
So this actually just commits for, like, 1 wild, really? It does help you pass things that you're bad at. Like, it's a okay defensive option if you got like 2 foot or 2 brain or something, and you think you're gonna have to do that a lot. But outside of that rather limited window, this card is not very good.
No, and like there are high ceilings I think with this card, and like Preston if you're doing wacky stuff, but it's not enough for like
Calvin.
Or Calvin, but it's not nearly enough to like move the needle on the card as a whole.
Yeah. Can Charlie play with this card?
Yes, he could. Yeah.
Yeah.
That could be fun too.
I probably also can't play with the level 3 one.
No, you can't play the level 3, but you
Because
play with this
nobody who wants that can play.
It's true.
Anyway,
It's true.
Anyway, moving
on to the level 3 one. So now this commits for 2 wilds, committing only to a skill test you're performing, and only if the difficulty of that test is higher than your base skill value. This gets plus X wild icons, where X is the difference between your base skill and the test difficulty, to a maximum of 3. So
yeah, this is also like what happened. Like maximum of 3. That's what we're worried about.
Yeah, it is true, right?
Like okay, sure. I mean, like I get that you don't want to like cramp future design space by like
having cards that can just like
allowing,
push yourself so high,
to like theoretical infinity. But the fact that this is level 3 and not level 2 kind of kills this card.
Yeah, if it was level 2, I could see
level
like
2, there would be homes for it.
Yeah, because right now it's basically just Calvin, right?
Arguably, this one should have been lower than the other one, I suppose, because like there's not really a world where you want to play with this one.
That is true, but we got blinded by the pips.
Yeah,
we got
were like,
blinded by the pips.
XP, it has to be good. It does not. It does not have to be good.
Yeah. All right, number 18, we got Signum Cruus. So this is actually, before we get into the card itself, if you play the taboo list, this actually now costs 0 with the taboo list, because it was reduced in level. Hey, bud, come on. No scratching on Father Mateo's face. So this is a what the heck?
You don't tell me what to do.
It's practiced, it's blessed. Commit only to a skill test you're performing if the difficulty is higher than your base skill value. After you commit Signum Cruus to a test, add blessed tokens to the chaos bag. X is the difference between that test difficulty and your base skill value. So this is very similar to Rise to the Occasion. But it gets blesses, so it's a 1 for that. I think in decks, like I love it in Silas, right? Because Silas breaks skills.
Yep.
Right? And I love it in Calvin, because Calvin has zeros.
He has no number.
And I mean, it's probably fine in Preston, but you see, like, these cards are like, these are the homes that they live in. So, like, we're kind of just saying the same stuff for Rise to the Occasion, and the skills weren't particularly exciting to us them. And while Signum Cruus is fun, it's not particularly exciting to me.
Yeah. Yeah, it is practiced, which is, like, a little better.
Yep.
But not much. And, like, adding a pile of blessed tokens to the bag is better than just being up 1 on a skill test one time.
Yeah. If you haven't played it in Calvin, it's a hell of a drug. When the game's like test 4 and you're like, I'm gonna put 4 blessed tokens in the bag.
Don't mind me.
Yeah. There was one time when it was like test 6 and I was like, don't mind if I do. So try it out. It's really fun. I don't think the skill's great though. Going on to 17, we got Last Chance. We're seeing kind of a trend here. So Last Chance commits for 5 wilds. If it commits for 3, it'd be a nightmare. Only to a skill test with no other cards committed to it. Other cards cannot be committed to the skill test. It loses a wild icon for each card in your hand.
Yeah. This one's like a piece for a red deck that doesn't exist, where they care about how many cards are in your hand. That's, it'd be cool if they explored it a little more, but I get why they don't, because it's actually kind of easy to get cards out of your hand if you don't want to have cards in your hand.
Yeah. Especially when you only start with 5.
Yeah, right. It's not actually that difficult. This one is just another janky way to get your skill number up for one test. I think this one's a little bit better because you can use it for anything.
Yeah, and I mean, like, if you get like 3 symbols out of it, you're probably happy.
Yeah, like three wilds is strong. Anything more than that is just gravy.
It's a little bit. I mean, it is also a level 0 card, so yeah, 3 wilds is pretty good. It's always awkward too. Like someone plays Last Chance, and then you're like, "Here, I'll help you," and they're like, "Nah,
you can't."
And notably, Last Chance, I already hear people saying it. It is good in Patrice, right? Like it's very good for like evading.
Like a lot of things are good in Patrice, though.
But yeah, that's exactly that, right? Like as like a looking at the card, as the card itself is also what we try to do here as well. On to number 16, we got Beloved. This is an innate blessed skill, commits for a brain, a foot, and a wild. If a blessed token is revealed during this test, you may remove Beloved from the game to replace that token's effect with the following. You automatically succeed. Do not reveal another token. Return this token to the chaos bag after this test ends. I play Beloved a lot in Silas.
Yeah, you can use the foot like for good and the brain for not die.
I've never triggered the text on it. And I think the text on it is like no, it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
So this is basically just like an unexpected courage. So like
mostly.
that's like where the rate for this is, right? Like it's like a guts or manual dex for.
Yeah, it's probably pretty good if you're playing like a Preston deck where you're playing like red bless tokens.
Yep.
And that's what you want to do. That does not inherently make this good. But at least it has a home.
Yeah, it has a home. And I mean, like, if your floor is just a guts or a manual dex that you can play whenever you want, that's a pretty alright floor. Yeah. That's serviceable.
It's not bad. It works.
Yeah. On to number 15, we got the level 2 Unexpected Courage. 2 wilds, max 1 per skill test. If it fails, return it to your hand.
Yeah, mostly just better, like slightly better than Unexpected Courage as a defensive card. Doesn't do very much at actually trying to help people pass. Because you've sunk 2 XP and you want to get it back to your hand at least once. Yeah. What it does do is, like, if you're playing resourceful, you can get this one back, but you can't get the other one back. Solid defensive option.
It is kind of funny that, like, you put 2 experience and you hope in a perfect world it never does anything.
Yeah, it just shows up and it's like, hey, that grasping hands did 2 less damage to you.
Yeah,
like, hell yeah, it did.
Yeah, and I mean, like, that's nice. Like, if it helps you like take less damage from a grasping hands and then also comes back, like, that's sick. But it doesn't really like excite me at 2 experience.
No, it's like a thing that you add to your deck at the end when you're like, we got 8?
Yeah. I'm a survivor.
With that?
I'm a survivor.
Like, you could always buy these.
Yeah, there's this weird part of, like, the survivor skills. Like, it's like the try again, the Grizzly Totem 3, where it's just like, hey, if you fail, you get these back. But, like, you always have to ask yourself, like, why am I failing, right? Like, I don't know, you could say, like, the auto-fail, but I'm like, it's not my game plan.
That's just bad luck.
Yeah. On to number 14, we got Strength in Numbers. A 1 experience skill commits for a wild. It gains a wild icon for each different class among cards you control.
It is very difficult for this card to not be just, like, Unexpected Courage Plus.
Yeah.
Usually a better option than Unexpected Courage level 2 for kind of the same thing. You will always control at least 1, so it is always an Unexpected Courage, and if you control any other one, then it's 3.
Yeah. Yeah, it basically is just like a cheaper Unexpected Courage
like
too.
If you're getting 3 out of this for a 1 XP skill, that's not bad. 3 wild is good. 3 unconditional wild, really.
Yeah.
Assuming that you want to have these things in play.
Yeah,
you probably want to have some sort of asset in play.
Yeah, and you probably don't want to, like, do it the other way, right? Like, you're gonna, like, build synergy and be like, hey, I have strength in numbers. Not like I'm gonna get strength in numbers and then I guess I should start putting other cards in.
Even if you're not synergy, just like, your investigator card is one of them, and then
you have, like,
if you have one of your off class in play, this is 3. Little bit of work with, like, multicolored stuff can get 4, but don't really matter too much anymore.
Yep. And like using this is the new like we evolve on this channel. We have, like, our metas, and my new meta that I'm trying to push is that if you use this card to pass a test on a treachery, this card's a ward of protection. That's the new thing. That's how you
This one also doesn't have max 1 committed per test.
Yep.
So you could throw 2 of them at, like, a shotgun test or something like that.
Yeah.
There's other upside here as well. I think it is mostly just better than the actual upgraded Unexpected Courage.
Definitely. On to number 13, we have Stroke of Luck. 2 experience. It's an innate fortune skill, commits for a wild. Commit only to a skill test you're performing. After revealing chaos tokens for this test, you may choose to exile Stroke of Luck. If you do, this test is automatically successful. So if you don't know what the exile mechanic is in the Survivor class, it means you remove it from your deck if you exile it. So it's basically protection for anything except the auto-fail, which admittedly is strange, but I think that's just the vestige of old design,
Yeah, it probably would just automatically succeed the test.
Yeah.
If it were printed these days.
So, no spoilers for our skills only run, but it's not going to be coming out for a long time on the channel. But Bryn and I both played this card in our decks, and
it was good.
And actually, this is actually funny to see the amount of times Bryn actually didn't need it.
Yeah.
It's a good card, but it's not worth 2 experience, strangely enough, right?
Yeah, like it's only worth the 2 experience if you don't have something better to do with it. But in the pool of cards like Rise to the Occasion that are do a thing good once, this one's probably the best one because you just do the thing.
That is kind of the pool we're in right now, isn't it? Just do a good thing once, yeah.
Like that's mostly what we're playing with here.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, this one can only be committed to a skill test you are performing, so gets worse at high player counts. But
definitely, yeah.
Here, at least when we're playing, we mostly... Everybody's going to be playing their own things to figure their own stuff out.
Yeah.
And if they're not...
That's on them.
yeah, I mean, like, we're probably not doing very well anyway.
Yeah, that is true,
we got other problems, but...
Yeah, I think just the big thing about Stroke of Luck is that it's been in the game for so long, and I think my first time ever playing it was our skills only run, which kind of just shows like everything on the card is good, but it's never really feels worth it to play.
It gets much stronger at higher difficulties as well.
Definitely,
because a lot of the time the game's like -9. And
yeah,
you're like.
It's it's trying to do an impression of an autofail token, but it isn't. Yeah, that's a good call. Yeah. All right, on to number 12, which is Survival Instinct 0. I think at this point now, we got to these ones and we were like, these are all cards that like 12
they're
up.
Like kind of good.
Yeah, they're like we're going like to the very good to like kind of great section of this. Survival Instinct is 0 cost, innate. If the skill test is successful during an evasion attempt, the evading investigator may immediately disengage from each other and may engage with him or her and may move to a connected location.
Yeah, you know how Nimble's good? This is like Nimble but bad. But Nimble but bad, still better than a lot of things.
Yeah. The free move off the evade is really nice because the problem with evading is a lot of the time you get like evade locked, where you just kind of have to like keep doing it because you're not solving problems because evading doesn't solve problems.
You're just pushing it into, it's future use problem, but next turn you know who you are, it's future you.
Yeah, and I hate past me.
Yeah.
But what this does is it allows you to kickflip out of the location, which is really nice. Notably, this one doesn't stop hunter enemies, but if you're engaged with like 2 hunter enemies,
you're gonna evade one of them.
Yeah. And if you're engaged like with 1 hunter enemy and a non-hunter enemy, evade the hunter enemy with this.
It just makes sense. Unless the hunter enemy has like a giant evade score.
Yeah, then maybe just be like, this is the one we're going to kill.
yeah, maybe just like evade and then run.
Yeah. On to our number 11, we have able-bodied.
So fucking strong.
This is an innate skill, commits for a fist or a foot. While I control 2 or fewer item assets, able-bodied gains fist and foot. While I control 1 or fewer item assets, able-bodied gains fist, foot instead. So 3 fist or 3 foot. It's just really easy to get the icons out of this one, and the payoff for it is really good.
Yeah. It turns out like item assets aren't even the only kind of asset in the game. There, you can still have a board full of stuff and get like 3 icons out of this.
Yeah. The 1 or fewer is really easy. Yeah. Right.
Very, very easy. The 2 or fewer, that sure sometimes you draw your cards in the wrong order or whatever, but. It turns out you don't actually have to bend your deck too far out of shape.
No.
Unless you're Bob Jenkins, in which case, like...
Don't play this.
Well, yeah, no, do something else.
Don't play this,
Do anything else.
Yeah, especially, like, I like this for combat survive. Like, obviously with Silas, it's great. Because, like, you really... Like, early on, you only have, like, 1 item you want to play, and it has your relevant symbols for it. And, like, worst case, it also has... the fist and foot, which you want. So like your net and your spear, your harpoon are always online, which you really want.
Yeah, you can also throw this at other people's tests and it still just cares about what you have.
Yep.
So, 3 foot is often enough to buy somebody out of a mess that they have found themselves in with no way to get out of.
Yeah. Also just like great 3 foot. You never want foot until you get a Mythos card that's like...
you never want foot until like you want foot.
Yeah, and then this is like, I got 3 for you, and you're like, thank you,
I guess the ants aren't eating all my things today.
Yeah, exactly. Which is good, because you only have 1 item in play.
Probably for the best.
All right, on to our top 10. We have Dauntless Spear. This is a 1 experience skill. While it's in your hand or committed to a skill test, it gains brain icons equal to your fist or fist icons equal to your brain. Hey, do you know what a survivor with low brain has? Usually high fist. Hey, do you know what a survivor with low fist has? Usually high brain. I was pretty soft on this card, but I've played it in actually a few campaigns now, and it impresses me a lot more than I thought it was going to.
Yeah, I was playing this, actually some spoilers, in like a Minty fan deck in our skills only challenge. And sometimes I had to punch people because, we didn't have consistent weapons. Skills only. It's a... watch the thing if you're interested. But it just gave me 5 punch.
Yeah.
Because I had 4 brain and I just got an extra pip for being a secretary?
Yeah.
Question mark?
Yeah. It's also, I played it in the Daniela deck.
Yeah.
And it's just like 4 brain is nice in the Mythos phase, but it's not a ward of protection in the Mythos phase. And like this basically just gives you like +5, and you're like, I'm good with anything,
Yeah, it also gives anybody else on the team +5.
+5. It's really
And like if you give them +5 and they still fail their test,
That's
what
on,
are they doing?
That's on them.
Yeah, that's their fault. That you couldn't have done anything to fix that.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, if all this card does is show up and punch all your Frozen and Fears into next week, then like great.
That's great.
Amazing.
Yeah, that's awesome. Yeah, definitely. On to number 9, we got Unrelenting. This is a 1 experience skill, commits for a wild, max 1 per test. After commit Unrelenting to a skill test, search the Chaos bag for up to 3 non-auto-fail Chaos tokens of your choice and seal them on Unrelenting. If all 3 tokens are +1, 0, Bless, and or Elder Sign, draw 2 cards. Release all tokens here after this ends.
Yeah, personally, I put this one way further down the list because of the mechanical aspect of actually doing the thing. I hate that so much.
Yeah.
That being said, it's real good.
Yeah. Even now, like the shorthand of being like, I'm going to block this one, and then you draw, and you're like, wait a minute, that's the one I blocked. Yeah.
It's...
It's not fun to play with mechanically. On Silas, this is like much higher. But I put this in just generic, people. And the other investigators. So there's Silas and then generic people are the rest of the investigators.
Yeah, every other one actually. They're just like a little stick figure on a card.
Yeah, but Silas is like beautiful drawn art, and it's a nice card because it's still just like it replaces itself +1. It helps you pass a test, and if you need to, you can use it for its other mode, which is remove the negative tokens that will cause you to fail. And that's nice because it's, something you can do in a pinch. Albeit I do really like to use this for its card draw mode. And in Silas and Amanda, this card goes to the moon.
It's kind of nuts. When it's good, it's like kind of nuts. And when it's not good, don't commit it.
Yeah.
Just wait.
Yeah. And I mean, it's also like pretty easy to put the +1 and like the 2 zeros on it because it's very rare you're going to need those to pass the test. Right? And like, if this helps you get up 2, it's probably good enough for you to run with it. Yeah.
Yeah, like it's strong. I just don't like fishing through the bag.
No, definitely. It's a mechanical nightmare. Yeah. Number 8, we got Gumption. 1 experience skill, max 1 per committed per skill test. You may commit Gumption to any type of skill test. When Gumption is committed to a test, it gets -2 difficulty. A new card from the Scarlet Keys, and it's just like a reverse unexpected courage. It adds 2, but not really.
Yeah, not the way that you normally do that.
Yeah.
But if a skill test, if its difficulty is 0, then it's almost impossible to fail. No matter what the tokens in the bag look like, except one of them.
Except that damn motherfucker.
Yeah, this one's also very, very good against cards like Grasping Hands, Rotting Remains.
Oh, yeah.
Where you just get to be like, so if I fail, I take 1.
Yeah, and then you're like, I don't care.
There's a non-zero number of treachery cards like that care about how much you failed by.
Yeah. Obviously, as well, if you're playing by like a tested 0 in any way, Gumption goes up even higher. But I think at its floor, it's just a good to great skill. On to number 7, we got Take Heart. So, it's an 8 skill, max 1 per skill test. You may commit Take Heart to any type of test. If this test fails, the performing investigator draws 2 cards and gains 2 resources.
Can you imagine if this wasn't max 1 committed per skill test? That's probably why the other one is.
Yeah, just it's like, yeah, they were like
this one is like...
That actually is probably it, right?
It probably is why.
Because, if this card, if I had this...
You would just, like, pick somebody and be like, what if you were juiced?
Yeah, like, it would be... Like, I think, I don't play Take Heart that much anymore. I play it in, like... I think a big thing with Arkham is that there's so many cards now that I think the staples are fewer and farther than they were, like, 3 years ago. And, like, I'm playing Take Heart in decks where I'm looking to fail. Like Stella, right? Otherwise, I don't really want to play Take Heart. There's other options now for the card drawn economy. But if your collection is very limited, I think Take Heart goes higher up in value. Because it is good resources. It's like good cards, good resources. And if you also can get like a look what I found when you fail out of it, that's really nice.
Yeah, it's also good if you're playing somebody who just has bad numbers and will probably fail tests anyway. Like, you're not actively trying to, but you're gonna at some point.
Especially like in the setup turns for Kelvin, just be like, I suck. I'm here. Here's my Take Heart. And it also,
just testing it at 0 is bad. Well, I'm always testing at 0. That's what I got.
And also, sometimes it's just the Elder Sign Magnet.
Yeah, that was kind of weird.
Yeah, it's happened multiple times, like over multiple campaigns. It's just the thing that happens.
Yeah, I don't know why.
Just how it is.
It's
just how it is.
The universe making fun of me, I guess.
Yeah, just bullying you.
Yeah.
It's not very cash money of your universe.
Yeah, it's okay.
Yeah. All right, on to number 6. We got Expeditious Retreat. This is a 1 experience skill, max 1 per test. While it's committed during a basic evade action against 2 additional foot icons. And the text, if this test is successful by 2 or more, you may automatically evade another enemy or location. This is a first in a cycle we're going to see. So I'm going to be not reading the cards, but rather referring back to the cycle where it adds additional symbols during a basic, and if it's successful by 2 or more, you get an additional effect.
Yeah, it's just good.
I love the card, and it's a card that also goes higher up in value depending on the campaign you're playing as well, which I think is really cool.
That's the truth.
And the effect is very good. I think that I love the hell out of this card too. I really enjoy playing it. It's the one I go to first, which I actually probably shouldn't because the next one on the list I think is just like generally better. But Expeditious Retreat is a really nice skill card, and I like the hell out of it.
Yeah, this one does let you automatically evade elite enemies, which is not something that I wish that they would decide which side of the line they wanted to be on for that. But that's okay.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
It's just kind of good.
It is just kind of good. And speaking of evades, we got Survival Instinct level 2. It's back in the top 5. Commits for 2 foot. If it's successful during an evasion attempt, the evading investigator may immediately evade each other enemy, engage with him or her, and may move to a connected location. This card's really good.
It's just all of them.
Yeah.
You just get all of them.
Yeah.
And then you leave.
And then you leave as well.
Yeah. Definitely worth the extra pip.
Yep.
Unless you desperately need the foot to be able to succeed at all. Mm-hmm. In which case the other one does give you 3.
And I've said this before, but I'm the worst at like just seeing patterns in like card design. And it was only like embarrassingly like 6 months ago when I was like, wait a minute, this is just the vicious blow. This is just deduction, because it is. And that's like, it changed my perspective on it, not at all. But like I was like, I get it. I'm just happy that I saw the mechanical link there, because it is. Maybe someone else out there didn't realize this and they're like me, and I'm just the worst at seeing that kind of stuff. But great card, and I'll give it the most respect it deserves because of the things it did in the skills only challenge was insane. The value this card gives you is nuts.
It does play a lot better than it reads.
Yeah, and it also is like Expeditious Retreat, where I think it goes up in value in certain campaigns, because not a lot. This is better in campaigns where you get flooded with enemies. Or if your deck's bad and you're not killing enemies, you can put Survival Instinct as a little band-aid over that to kind of help there. Into our top 4, we have Grizzled. This is commits for a wild, and when it's purchased, you get to add 2 traits to its upgrade sheet. And if this is a skill test on or against an encounter card, including fighting, evading, or parlaying, you get 2 additional wilds. It also has a giant list of things that you can upgrade.
Do so many things.
Because this is a customizable card, but I'm going to like only really talk about what I think is the one that I'd always take with this, which is the always prepared. The other options are good, so I'll read through them here, but you can add additional traits for more experience. There is Nemesis, where if it's against an enemy with the chosen trait and it's successful, you may attach Grizzled to the enemy and reduce the test on all that enemy by 1. If Mythos Hardened, it's for a treachery with the chosen trait. You may add both grizzled and the treachery if to the victory display if the test was successful. And then there's always prepared, which is after you draw an encounter card with the chosen trait, return one copy of grizzled from your discard pile to your hand, max once per round. So I do think that Nemesis is the worst one of them. Just like generally in a vacuum. I still think the effect is good. I think Nemesis and Mythos Harden are still good effects. Like, it solves a card permanently in Mythos Harden. With Nemesis, you can, like, you know, defeat the enemy, and, like, it makes the enemy easier. But, like, Always Prepared basically is giving you endless amounts of these cards over the game. And I think that's just, like, really good. If you just, like, are never running out of Grizzleds because you have, like, 3 traits on it. If you have 4 traits on it, this card is going to return, like, every 2 Mythos phases.
If you're off-class Seeker, you can't buy Always Prepared, so...
Which I think is actually, like, thankfully, right?
It's probably a good thing.
Yeah. But I think, like, if you have, like, you can kind of build, like, a bad version of Eye of Truth with Mythos Hardened, right?
Yeah, I think this one, like, kind of bad if you're playing through a campaign blind, because you're just going to have to guess.
Yeah.
But, like, revisiting scenarios, this card is incredibly strong. And, I mean, admittedly, you can be very broad with your guesses, like, where you can be, like, humanoid and monster, and that's every enemy.
Yeah. Or you could do, like, humanoid and, like, hazard, hex, or omen. Those are, like, the 3 most common ones. If you're, like... If you're looking at a campaign and you're like, oh, we're walking through the jungle, that's probably hazard. Oh, there's witches on the cover going like this, that's probably hex, you know?
Yep.
Yeah, so you could guess it, but I do agree it goes up higher in value once you know what you're looking for.
It's a lot better when you're revisiting it. It's still very good. Like, 3 wild symbols is a lot for no XP.
Yep.
And, like, you know.
Yeah. And you put 6 XP in this card, and it's going to help you. You're going to get so much value out of it.
Even the Nemesis one, like, if it's a combat heavy campaign, you can just be like, cool, so this elite enemy, he's just wearing this now.
Yep.
He sucks.
Yeah.
You show up and they're like, I don't know, maybe some sort of brood of Yog-Sothoth is like a towering abomination. You're like, nah, sit back down.
Yeah, you're a tiny boy.
Yeah, you just have printed numbers, please.
Yeah. We're on to our top 3. We got Sharp Vision. This is a 1 experience skill. Commits for a book. And it has the text like Expeditious Retreat, where it gets 2 additional books. And if you succeed by 2 or more, discover an additional clue during a basic investigate action.
Yeah. The only thing I don't like about this card is that you can't take it in Amanda Sharp. And, like, why can't you play Amanda Sharp and Sharp Vision?
That doesn't make
any sense.
It doesn't make sense.
Like, I get it, sort of. It doesn't really matter. Like, Amanda's not very good, so
yeah, what are you going to do? Basic investigate at 5 with this?
Yeah,
what
like,
a
you
nightmare.
still have to succeed by 2, so it's like you're investigating at
3? Yeah.
I could do that on a blue character, and I get 5 punch.
Yeah.
Like, whatever.
Deduction's good. This is like red deduction.
Yeah, extra clues are good.
Yeah. And with the best thing in the cycle is once we get to the last card of this cycle, they value damage versus clues correctly.
Yeah.
Thank God.
Yeah, these ones also don't have to be your test.
Yes, which is huge. Because like a lot of the times as a survivor, I'll just take this. If I'm like, I just need to upgrade something, I'm going to take this and then, hey, Travis, you're Norman Withers, do a basic investigate. Have this. It's good. It's actually like legitimately good. Yeah.
Yes, it is. Definitely.
Our number 2 card is... Something's wrong here, Bryn. The numbers are wrong.
The numbers might be wrong.
The numbers are wrong. So this is actually number 3 technically, I think. Because there's something... We have 2 number 1s. That's what we're going to say. We have 2 number 1s.
Yeah, sure, if you like.
We got Stunning Blow. This is a skill. Of course, it's a skill. Commits for a fist. It's practice. If it's successful during an attack, automatically evade the attacked enemy.
Yeah, just like free evades. A lot of enemies you can't beat in a single combat.
Mm-hmm.
Like, they're going to get to attack you. Stunning Blow says, no, you don't.
Yeah. Great way to do the first action against an elite enemy. Just take them down.
Right? Like, you get to eat a guy's retaliate, and then you don't have to worry about it for the next 2 attacks. You don't have to overcommit because you're
worried about the retaliate.
Fail.
Yeah.
And, like, the retaliate will kill me. You're just like, nah, I'll overcommit to this one test, so then like he takes damage and he doesn't retaliate anymore, and then we'll.
And then everyone's safe.
Yeah,
like especially
we'll
like a
just beat
massive enemy, it's insane the value that this card provides.
It's also practiced.
It's also practiced. Yeah.
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 Probably not something you really want to be doing, but you could be playing like, I don't know, some sort of like blow specialist.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
I don't know, maybe a doctor.
Yeah, maybe some sort of doctor who's just specializing in blowing dudes.
Yeah.
Maybe.
Yeah, right. I don't know. Just a thought.
On to our first number one, we got Resourceful. So this is actually was our second highest rated card for Bryn and I. It's an innate skill, commits for a book, a fist, or a foot. If it's successful, choose a survivor card not named Resourceful in your discard pile, add the chosen card to your hand. This card is incredibly powerful and kind of like defines the survivor class as like what their design is. It grabs your best survivor cards out of your deck, and it doesn't remove itself from the game, so you can do it again in the future. There's like ways to recur it with that one card, the girl's cooking over the True Survivor. Thank you.
Yeah.
Like it's very powerful, and it can get you back what you want, like when you want it. It's very good.
Yeah, you do have to succeed the test, but yeah, this one's pretty much just like any of the other cards on the list. This one, that too.
Yeah. Now this, for a long time, this was I use this card to recur my Luckies because Lucky is a good card. Lucky's great, and I'll still recur my Luckies, but actually, what I've been recurring the most with it, which is because our remaining card, which if you don't know, is Brute Force as we get there. This was the one that Bryn said, I think Brute Force is the strongest. And my first gut instinct was Resourceful. But then I thought about it, and I actually now, the card I recur the most with Resourceful is Brute Force. Which, to me,
real good.
I think just shows the power of Brute Force. So Brute Force is a 1 experience skill, commits for a fist. It's the innate develop, last in that cycle. If it's committed to a basic fight, +2 fist, 2 or more, +2 damage.
+2 damage is a lot.
It's a lot. It's actually like balanced correctly. Because I think one clue, like an additional clue, I don't think is not equal to 1 additional damage. I think it's 2 damage for like on like a 1 use type of thing. Not for a weapon, but for like a skill effect like this. I think the +2 damage is what makes this really
I
pop.
think 1 clue is probably worth like 1.6, 1.7 damage, because like if level 0 vicious blow did 2 extra damage, that card would be nuts.
That card would be nuts.
Right.
Yeah.
Like actually insane.
Yeah. I guess it's also like with the limitations of like basic fight action.
Right.
That's
the caveat of like it has to be a basic, and you also have to succeed by 2 or more, which the card does give you, but
it's not a sure thing. But like
no.
a lot of survivors, they'll get there very comfortably, and you also like
you can throw it at someone else's test.
You throw it at someone else's test. It's not uncommon to play this and then also stunning blow at the same time, and you just like deal 3 damage, knock the guy on his ass. It's very powerful. It just like 1 test eliminates a lot of enemies.
Yeah, a lot of the difficult enemies in the game are made harder by having an odd total of health, because most weapons deal an even number of damage. So dealing 3, you're either killing like a 3 hit point enemy, or dealing 3 to a 5 hit point enemy,
and then finishing it off with your melee weapon.
Non-elite enemies anyway.
Yeah. That's a great card. It's our number 1, and it is just like I'm always happy when someone plays a Brute Force on a test. You're like, yeah, you're going to the moon. And then like with Resourceful, well, still good. I'm like, are you going to grab your Brute Force? Because I hope you grab your Brute Force.
Yeah, if you're not grabbing your Brute Force, it's because you got something else lined up that you think can end the game, or you're doing something a little bit strange.
Yeah. Or you have like 1 health left, and you're like, I need this lucky.
Or your Stella.
Or your Stella.
Because you're probably just grabbing neither rain nor snow.
Yes, which is also, or your True Survivor to then grab your neither rain nor snows and your Resourceful back.
Yeah, right. Like there are things that you could be getting with Resourceful that, like, okay, fair, I get why you're not grabbing your Brute Force, but like, really, you didn't want to do 3 damage?
Yeah. They just want to just punch like, I mean, also like grabbing Sharp Vision is also really good, but Brute Force is just it's a skill to die for. And with that, that's the end of this list video. Thanks for watching, everybody. I hope you enjoyed it. In the meantime, let us know in the comments what your favorite survivor skills are and why they're brute force. We would love to hear it. Have a good one. Thanks for watching, and as always, GG's.